Time old business minutes for November 18th. Is there a motion?
Did we stop and start record?
Oh,
Move to approve.
Kathleen, are we good to go?
Yes, thank you.
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion from Councilor Lenz, second from Councilor Olson to approve the minutes for November 18th. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Minutes are approved. COVID-19 leave. I'm assuming this is the county manager.
Yes, I will present this. So the council did approve an addendum to Clark County Human Resources Policy 11.0 benefits, or as identified in the applicable collective bargaining agreements with unions and guilds back in June of 2020. Oh, I'm sorry, back in March of 2020. This addendum has been updated a couple times. The first termination was in August, and then it was extended to the end of December. The addendum talks about certain leaves for employees who test positive for COVID, placed in mandatory quarantine, or who have symptoms consistent with COVID-19. The current addendum does expire the end of December, and it is the request of the council that we can extend this through June 30th of 2021 in hopes that we're going to have a vaccine and start climbing out of the current pandemic. So it's a request of the council to extend the addendum to the Clark County Human Resources Policy and the collective bargaining agreements.
Questions on this?
I just have a quick clarifying question. I think I know the answer, but I just want to ask it. Extending through June 30th, 2021, I think that is a very reasonable time frame. But say something amazing happens and we are able to adjust sooner, say a vaccine were to become available sooner, outside possibility, but still we'd be able to come back and change this sooner than that. Correct?
Yes, the policy itself is under the council's purview, and that, yes, we can amend that at any time. With that said, with the unions, we would have to bargain the impacts to that change.
Okay, thank you.
My question on this would be, we just talked about in Board of Health that there could be potentially some new guidelines from the CDC about quarantine times. So I would perhaps like to maybe push this off for a week, just to allow Dr. Melnick time to look at this and see, does it still need to be 2 weeks, or could that be 10 days, or could there be some, do we need all these timeframes? I don't think these timeframes change from our initial approval. And if they need to be the same, they need to be the same, and that's great. But I think just given that there's some new guidelines that came out this morning, it might be good to review it and bring this back next week unless that causes an issue for timing.
That's fine with me if that's what the council wishes.
Yeah, I'd be supportive of that. I think it could be impactful once we get some feedback from Dr. Melnick. And
I'd be supportive of that too.
Okay, we will put it on next week's council agenda. And Councilor Blum, if I may, I would like to request to add one quick old business item on here as well, regarding a sales tax leakage letter.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay,
any objections from other councilors? Okay, good to go.
I'll just do a quick intro, and Lindsay is on as well that can go into more detail, but it was briefly discussed at a previous council meeting regarding a sales tax leakage letter. Lindsay has sent it to all the councilors, and I'll let her explain the details of it, and then we would require an approval if the council wishes to actually send the letter on behalf of everyone.
So just quick background, the legislature has formed a tax structure work group to look at a variety of things in terms of the overall tax structure. I mean, this is everything from cap gains to changes in property tax to looking at the sales tax. There's no one particular area of focus, but one of the areas that they are considering is the sales tax, and specifically looking at possible changes to the sales tax for a variety of reasons. But we want to make sure that we keep the issue of the Clark County sales tax leakage front and center for them And so that was the purpose of this letter. We talked about it briefly in council time. I sent it out to the council. The feedback that I did receive was that it looks good to go. No requested changes on that. So I just want to confirm again with the council that you don't have any requested changes or any questions, and then I can give Josh the go ahead to move forward.
Any comments from council on the letter?
I think good to go. Yeah.
All right, I will let Josh know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Next item, new business, the Clark County vehicle allowance.
So there is a Clark County travel expense reimbursement policy that identifies certain expenses, eligible expenses. On section 6 of that policy is the executive vehicle allowance. The Clark County counselors are authorized per the current policy to receive a monthly vehicle allowance in accordance with the following schedule, which is about $700 per month for the vehicle allowance. This was approved 4 years ago. This policy does expire at the end of 2020. So I believe Lindsay drafted the staff report that's in front of you now, requesting to just continue that same vehicle allowance for the next 4 years, which is consistent with how it was approved before, and no changes to the dollar amount.
Questions or comments from the council? Kathleen, can you clarify this is, sorry, go ahead, Councilor Olson. Okay, so this was approved 4 years ago, but this goes further back than 4 years, correct? This has been, okay, that
Yes.
was just the most recent renewal.
Yes, there's been a vehicle allowance for many years. The last time the amount was adopted for policy was 4 years ago and identified 4 years in advance. So, 2021, so this would be for 2021 through 2024, just consistent with the last adoption. But yes, it did happen prior to 4 years ago as well.
Thank you. Councilor Olson?
And
I was just going to move to approve.
Second.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, the motion is approved.
thank you.
Councilor reports. It doesn't look like we have anything there. I don't see any work session requests. Anything that's been added, Kathleen, Lindsay?
No work session request.
Okay. Policy issues, Lindsay?
So just two quick things for you. One, an update on the COVID grants that we did through the Greater Vancouver Chamber of Commerce and CREDC. They did let me know that they successfully distributed those funds. So we got the final race to the November 30th deadline. They sent me the spreadsheets and we're working on the final documentation and all of that, but definitely a number of happier businesses. I won't say happy because times are still tough, but happier folks getting those money out. So definitely a thanks to them for all their hard work on this. The other thing to let you know, pre-filed bills for the legislature for the 2021 session will be coming up in the next couple days. So starting next week with council time, I'll have an update for you on those pre-filed bills. And then Josh will be beginning his weekly legislative updates with the first week of session in January. But obviously he's around all the time if we have any questions on any of the pre-file stuff, but I'll start letting you know what we're seeing next week.
Great, thank you, Lindsay. I don't believe we have any executive sessions for the day.
That is correct.
Okay. Well, if there is nothing further, we will adjourn council time. Have a good afternoon, everyone.